Welcome back to AI Unraveled, your daily strategic briefing on the business impact of artificial intelligence. It is Monday, February 16th, 2026. This episode is brought to you by AIRIA. If you are worried about unmanaged AI agents running wild in your network, stay tuned. We have the solution. Today, we are talking about a historic moment in science. OpenAI claims that GPT-5.2 has independently discovered a new law of physics, correcting a mistake that human physicists had missed for decades. But the real drama is in the Pentagon. The Department of Defense is threatening to fire Anthropic, canceling a $200 million contract because the safety lab refuses to let its AI be used for unrestricted warfare. This comes as reports confirm that Claude was actually used in the raid to capture Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro. Also today, ByteDance launches Seed 2.0 to crush Western models on price, Disney sues over deepfakes, and Spotify's top developers stop writing code entirely. This podcast is created and produced by Etienne Newman, senior software engineer and passionate soccer dad from Canada. Now let's unravel the news.
Before we dive into today's deep dive, a quick note for the brands listening. If you are trying to reach the architects of the AI revolution, not just the tourists, but the technical leaders actually building the stack, we are opening up limited partnership spots for Q1. See how we can simulate your product for the technical buyer at jamgamind.com/partners.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Monday, February 16th, 2026. And I have to be honest with you. Usually, when I come into the studio on a Monday morning, I'm sort of, shaking off the weekend.
Yep, grabbing the coffee,
expecting to wade through some incremental updates. Maybe a new model gets a slightly better benchmark score. Maybe a regulator in the EU signed another piece of paper.
Standard operating procedure, the usual noise.
Exactly. But today, I sat down with the stack of sources you sent over at about 6 a.m., and I genuinely couldn't finish my coffee. I just stared at the screen.
I believe it.
Because if these reports are accurate, and we've double-checked them, today isn't just another news cycle. Today might actually be the day we look back on in, 10 years and say that was it.
That was the moment.
That was the moment the levees broke.
It absolutely feels that way, and I'm glad you caught that vibe because I felt the exact same thing compiling this. I mean, usually the signal-to-noise ratio in AI news is pretty low. It's all hype.
So much hype.
A lot of hype, very little substance. But today, the signal it's deafening. We aren't just looking at software updates. We're looking at fundamental shifts in 3 separate pillars of civilization at the same time.
Right. It's theoretical science, the global economy, and kinetic warfare, all on one Monday.
It's overwhelming.
It is. We have a news cycle that spans the absolute highest heights of human ambition. I mean, literally rewriting the laws of the universe. And then it just drags us right down into the grimiest, most terrifying realities of trench warfare and a race-to-the-bottom economy.
It's the friction between utopia and reality. That's really the theme for today.
I think so.
On one hand, you have machines solving physics problems humanity couldn't crack for decades. And on the other, on the very same day, we have confirmed reports of those same machines being used in military raids where people were shot.
And undercutting the entire Western economy on price while they're at it.
It's a collision.
So we have a massive mission ahead of us for this deep dive. Here is how we are going to attack this.
Yeah.
First, we have to unpack this singularity moment in science because, frankly, it's the headline that changes the trajectory of our species.
No question.
Then we have to pivot to the geopolitical tension, specifically this showdown between the Pentagon and Silicon Valley and this Maduro raid revelation, which, I'll be honest, it really kept me up last night.
It's chilling stuff, truly.
And finally, we have to talk about money. Because while the U.S. is debating safety and ethics, China is just winning the price war. And for everyone listening who runs a business or manages a team, that is the segment that is going to hit your wallet directly.
It's a collision course. Physics, war, and economics all hitting a breaking point on the same Monday morning. Buckle up.
So let's start at the top, the physics breakthrough. I'm holding the source here from the AI Daily News Rundown. In the headline, it's deceptively simple. GPT-5.2 makes theoretical physics discovery.
That sounds like clickbait.
It sounds like something we would have rolled our eyes at back in 2024.
Right.
But when you actually read the details, okay, let's unpack this. What actually happened here?
What happened is that OpenAI's GPT 5.2 didn't just summarize a physics paper. It didn't just help a human write a paper. It didn't just run a simulation that a human designed.
This is the important part.
It independently discovered a new mathematical formula in particle physics, and then, this is the real kicker, it formally proved it.
Okay, stop there for a second, because I want to make sure we aren't just glazing over this.
Yeah.
When we say discovered a formula, are we talking about it finding a slightly more efficient way to calculate something we already knew?
No.
Like a calculator just rounding up better?
No, and that's the crucial distinction. The source material specifies that this was a problem in particle physics, specifically around quark-gluon plasma interactions that the scientific community assumed was already solved.
We thought we had the answer.
We had a consensus. The AI looked at the existing human consensus, determined it was incorrect, found the fundamental error in our math, and then proposed a new correct solution.
That genuinely gives me chills. Truly. Because for the last few years, the big skepticism around AI, the line you and I have heard 1,000 times, has always been, well, it's just a stochastic parrot.
Right. It just predicts the next word. It's just a fancy autocomplete.
Exactly. The argument was always that it can only regurgitate what humans have already written. It's a remix engine. But you can't predict the next word of a discovery that humans haven't made yet.
You can't.
You can't remix a proof that doesn't exist in the training data.
Precisely. That metaphor of the stochastic parrot just died.
Right.
So today, it's gone because a parrot mimics. The system reasoned. And that's why this is such a watershed moment. The source mentions that a specialized research version of GPT-5.2 autonomously wrote the proof. And did you see the timeline on this?
I did. It's unbelievable. It took 12 hours.
12 hours.
12 hours to undo and then redo a scientific consensus that probably took humans decades to build in the first place.
Think about the implications of that speed. I mean, science usually moves at the speed of peer review, of grant applications, of human sleep cycles and egos.
And grad students.
And grad students, right. The system it digested the data, identified the anomaly, formulated a new hypothesis, and then mathematically proved it in half a day.
Now, I have to play the skeptic for a minute because I know our listeners are thinking it. We've seen AI hallucinate before. I mean, we've seen it make up court cases. We've seen it invent facts out of thin air. How do we know it didn't just hallucinate some beautiful-looking math that is actually total nonsense?
That is the first question I asked when I saw the headline. It's the right question, but verification process here was apparently incredibly rigorous. This wasn't just OpenAI marking their own homework.
Yeah.
The proof was sent out and independently verified by physicists from Harvard, Cambridge, and Princeton.
So the heavy hitters.
The heaviest hitters. They checked the work. They ran the numbers. They tried to break it. And it holds up. It's correct.
There is a quote here in the show notes from Andrew Strominger, the physicist at Harvard. And this line really, really stuck with me. He said, the AI chose a path no human would have tried.
That's the alien intelligence aspect we've always theorized about, isn't it? It's not just that it's smart. It's different.
It is. But hearing it confirmed by a Harvard physicist is just different than, spitballing it on a podcast.
It implies that the AI isn't just thinking faster than us, it's thinking differently from us. It's looking at the same data set, the same universe, and it's seeing patterns that our biological brains are simply not wired to detect.
It's like it has a different kind of intuition.
The source material said it utilized a form of reasoning topology, that it basically bypassed our cognitive blind spots, things we wouldn't even think to look for.
So let's push this forward then. We're calling this a singularity moment for scientific discovery. If you have a system that can digest the entire corpus of human physics, find the gaps in our knowledge, and then fill them in 12 hours. What is the role of the human physicist in 2027?
That is the big looming existential question. I mean, look at the credits on the paper. OpenAI's Kevin Weil is listed as a co-author.
Right.
So for now, the role is co-author. We are the prompters. We are the guides. But you have to wonder how much co is really doing in that title. Is it 50-50 or is it 99-1?
It feels like we are very quickly moving from being the creators of knowledge to just being the curators of knowledge that the AI discovers.
Or even just the beneficiaries. We're moving from a world where we teach the AI to a world where the AI corrects us about the fundamental laws of reality.
We are no longer the masters of the material.
We are the students of the intelligence we created. And that's a profound, profound shift in our place in the world.
And the implications extend so far beyond particle physics. I mean, I care about particle physics in the abstract, but if it can solve this in 12 hours, what happens next week when they point this same specialized research version at material science
Or longevity research,
Yeah.
or cold fusion.
Exactly. Any field that's bogged down by massive data sets and complex interactions.
That's the optimism, right? That's the utopia we talked about at the top of the hour. If it can fix our understanding of the universe, it can probably fix our energy grid, can probably fix our biology. It feels like we are standing at the threshold of a golden age of discovery where the rate of progress just goes vertical.
But, and there is always a but, on this show, I feel like I'm the designated buzzkill today.
There always is.
While the Americans are high-fiving over particle physics and co-author credits, the ground is literally shifting beneath their feet economically.
Right. While we are looking up at the stars, the trenches are getting muddy. And we have to pivot to the economic reality because this news about ByteDance and the price war, this is going to affect every single business listener we have today.
We are talking about ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok. They have just released Seed 2.0. And looking at these numbers, I thought there was a typo in the report you sent.
No typo. It's aggressive.
Aggressive is a polite way to put it. This looks like a predatory pricing strategy that is specifically designed to gut the competition.
It's hard to see it any other way.
Let's look at the breakdown. GPT-5.2, the model we just praised for solving physics, costs around 1.75 per million tokens to use.
Which, to be fair, was considered pretty cheap a year ago. We were celebrating that price point.
Right. And then you have Google's Gemini 3 Pro, which is sitting at the premium end of the market, $5 per million tokens.
That's the high-end, enterprise grade, you get what you pay for pricing.
Now, enter ByteDance, Seed 2.0. What is the price tag on this thing?
47 cents. $0.47.
47 cents.
It is less than a tenth of the price of the Google model. It's about a quarter of the price of the OpenAI model.
But usually, when you buy the discount version, the great value brand AI, you expect it to be dumber. You expect it to hallucinate more or have worse reasoning.
And that is the problem for the Western labs. That's the real gut punch here. Seed 2.0 isn't a budget model in terms of performance. The benchmarks, math, reasoning, vision, they all show it surpassing GPT-5.2 and Gemini 3 Pro.
So let me get this straight. You're getting a better model for pennies.
Exactly, for pennies on the dollar. And it's not just about raw intelligence in a benchmark test. The source highlights that Seed 2.0 is built for agentic tasks. This is crucial.
What does that mean in practice?
It means they didn't just demo a chatbot. They demoed the model completing a 96-step CAD modeling workflow autonomously.
Let's pause on that. 96 steps. That's not a simple task.
No, this is 96 distinct actions. Opening the software, selecting the correct plane, drawing the geometry, extruding the shape, filleting the edges, checking the stress tolerances. It did the whole thing from a single prompt.
That is complex engineering work. That's not just writing a poem about a cat in the style of Shakespeare.
It's the race to the bottom we all feared, but it's happening way faster than anyone predicted. If you are a startup founder listening to this, in San Francisco or London or Berlin, and you are building an application, can you really justify paying $5 to Google when you can pay 47 cents to ByteDance for better performance?
You can't. Your investors would kill you. Your CFO would fire you on the spot.
Exactly. The unit economics just don't work anymore for the Western providers.
But this puts Western innovation in a complete stranglehold. Because the Western labs, OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, they have massive capital burn rates. They are buying tens of thousands of H100s from Nvidia at, what, $40,000 a pop?
Minimum. And their electricity bills look like the GDP of a small country.
Right. They need that $5 or that $1.75 margin just to survive, just to keep the lights on. If ByteDance floods the market at 47 cents, the entire economic model of Western AI starts to look very, very shaky.
It's a classic dumping strategy. You subsidize the cost to capture the market, to become the default infrastructure. And it's not just ByteDance. We need to be clear about this. The sources also mentioned Alibaba released Qwen 3.5.
Right, I saw that. What are the details there?
Same story. Also outperforming GPT-5.2 on several key benchmarks, also significantly cheaper, 60% cheaper than its own predecessor, and crucially, they released an open-weight version under an Apache 2.0 license.
So China's just commoditizing intelligence. They're basically saying intelligence is free, the compute is free, come build on our platform.
Which is a brilliant geopolitical strategy if you think about it. If the foundation of the entire global digital economy runs on Chinese models because they are virtually free, then China controls the infrastructure of the future.
It doesn't matter if OpenAI has the best physics solver locked away in a lab if everyone is running their business on Qwen and Seed, because it costs nothing.
Exactly. Good enough and free always beats perfect and expensive.
But there is a darker side to how they are achieving this speed and this power, especially when it comes to intellectual property. We have to talk about the Hollywood firestorm mentioned in the news.
Oh, yeah.
Because one of the reasons they might be moving so fast is that they aren't exactly asking for permission.
The CDance 2.0 drama, this is fascinating. So ByteDance releases a video model, CDance 2.0, and immediately Hollywood just explodes.
Because it wasn't just generating generic stock footage of, a dog on a skateboard.
No. Within hours, users were generating content with flawlessly replicated, copyrighted characters. We're talking Mickey Mouse, Iron Man, SpongeBob.
And not just lookalikes, not knockoffs, perfect replications.
Perfect. And the voices, too.
Yeah, that was in there.
The source mentions SAG-AFTRA came out immediately, condemning the unauthorized use of performers' likenesses and their voices.
And Disney and Paramount sent cease and desist letters instantly. I mean, you have to imagine the legal departments at Disney were practically foaming at the mouth.
Well, to their credit, ByteDance actually respected the letters. They did restrict the tool after the fact, but it just highlights the fundamental difference in approach.
What do you mean?
The Western labs are moving, relatively cautiously. They are terrified of being sued into oblivion by the New York Times or Getty Images. They're trying to license data. They're striking deals with Axel Springer and News Corp. They're trying to play nice.
And China is just playing move fast and break things on a global scale.
Precisely. They launch the model, scrape everything on the internet, absorb the IP, release it to the world, and then maybe apologize later if the lawyers get loud enough. It raises a huge question.
Which is?
Is Western innovation being actively stifled by copyright law while China accelerates?
That's the debate, isn't it? Can you win a race if you are meticulously following the rules and your opponent is just ignoring them? It feels like we are fighting with one hand tied behind our backs.
And speaking of fighting back, did you see the mention of that new tool, Lightbar?
Yes, the new tool for studios. Tell us about that.
It's basically an immune system for IP. It measures percentage likeness and character traits to detect if a generated video is ripping off a specific property. So it can say, this isn't just a talking mouse, this is 98.7% similar to Mickey Mouse.
So we are entering a world where AI polices AI for copyright infringement.
It's an arms race. One AI generates the fake Mickey Mouse, another AI detects the fake Mickey Mouse. Meanwhile, the price of the underlying intelligence just keeps dropping to zero.
And while that price drops, the nature of work completely changes. I mean, this transitions us perfectly into the talent shift we are seeing in the sources. Because if intelligence is this cheap and this agentic, like we saw with that 96-step CAD demo, what happens to the humans who used to do those steps?
Exactly.
This part of the news really hit home for me. I think a lot of our listeners work in tech or, fields adjacent to it. And we have Peter Steinberger, the creator of OpenClaw, joining OpenAI.
A huge hire.
For listeners who don't know OpenClaw, can you explain what this thing actually does? It's not just another chatbot?
Not at all. OpenClaw is an agent. A true agent. It lives on your operating system. It has permission to access your personal services, your email, your files, your calendars, your Slack, and it executes tasks for you.
It doesn't just suggest a reply, it sends the email.
It clears your inbox. It summarizes your day and sends you an update via iMessage. It finds the file you asked for and puts it on your desktop. It's not generating text, it's doing work.
And OpenAI hiring him signals that they're moving beyond chat.
Yeah.
They want action. Sam Altman was quoted, he called it the next generation of personal agents.
Right.
But look at the juxtaposition with the Spotify news. This was shocking to me. The CEO of Spotify, Gustav Soderstrom, revealed that his top developers haven't written a single line of code this year.
Not one line. These are the top-tier principal engineers, the best of the best. And the quote is that they are all in on the transition to AI. They are not coding anymore.
So if you are a senior developer at Spotify and you aren't writing code, what are you doing? What is your job now?
You are becoming an architect. You're becoming a supervisor of AI systems. You are prompting the agents. The actual act of writing code, the syntax, the semicolons, debugging loops, that is gone. That is now the job of the machine, especially with cheap, powerful tools like Seed 2.0.
So if you're listening to this and you're a junior dev, or maybe you're studying CS right now, you need to pay very close attention to this. Because the University of California system just reported a 6% drop in computer science enrollment.
The first decline in 20 years. Think about that. For 2 decades, CS was the golden ticket. It was the guaranteed six-figure job right out of college.
It was the safest bet you could make.
And now 18-year-olds are looking at the writing on the wall, or rather, the code on the screen being generated by GPT-5.2, and they're saying, maybe I shouldn't major in syntax.
They are pivoting to what the report calls AI-specific degrees. But I have to ask, if the AI can solve particle physics, can't it also solve AI-specific problems? Are we just moving the goalposts slightly before they get run over too?
We are running to the edges of what humans can still claim as their own unique contribution. And look at the Alpha School stat from the sources: a 2-hour academic day, an AI-first model, and the students are testing in the 99th percentile.
That's incredible efficiency. But it just disrupts everything we know about education and work.
It means the very structure of our society, the 8-hour workday, the 4-year degree, is becoming obsolete. If you can learn everything you need in 2 hours, and the AI does the coding, and your personal agent clears your inbox, what is left for the human to do for the other 14 hours of the day?
That is the big philosophical question. And frankly, for businesses, the question is much more immediate. It's not, what is the philosophy of work? It's, how on earth do I manage this chaos?
Right. Because if you are a CEO reading this news, you are seeing these incredibly cheap Chinese models. You're seeing autonomous agents like OpenClaw, and you're seeing employees who aren't writing code anymore. You have completely lost visibility into what's happening.
You have.
Yeah.
And that brings up a massive security and data privacy hole. You've got shadow AI running rampant in your organization.
Huge. If your employee is using OpenClaw to read their email or using Seed 2.0 to analyze a sensitive spreadsheet because it's 47 cents, where is your corporate data going? Who is watching the watchers?
Before we move on, I want to highlight something critical right there.
Yeah.
We just talked about ByteDance's Seed 2.0 offering frontier intelligence for pennies, and the creator of OpenClaw joining OpenAI to build these autonomous agents.
Right. The tools are becoming irresistible.
Exactly. This means one thing for your business. Your employees are going to use these tools. They are faster, they're cheaper, and they're more powerful. You can't block them all.
And you can't just let them run wild with your company's data. That's a recipe for disaster.
This is why we partner with AIRIA. AIRIA is the control plane for your enterprise AI stack.
And that's exactly what you need, a single pane of glass.
It lets you see exactly which agents and models are running on your network, who's using what, and for what purpose.
And it gives you that unified security to detect data leaks before they happen. It's about getting ahead of the problem.
And it gives you real-time cost control so you don't wake up to a 5-figure bill because someone ran an unauthorized API call all weekend.
We've all heard those horror stories.
So don't fear the innovation, orchestrate it.
Yeah.
We think it's an essential layer for any modern business. Secure your stack by clicking the link in the show notes to get the ARIA demo today.
It really is the necessary layer now. You can't just pretend these agents don't exist in your environment.
Absolutely not. You have to orchestrate it. But speaking of orchestration and control planes, let's move from the corporate boardroom to the situation room. Because the most chilling news in today's stack isn't about pricing or physics. It's about the Pentagon.
This is where the tone shifts. We have to talk about the military dilemma. This is heavy.
There are two major stories here that are colliding. First, the ultimatum. The Pentagon is threatening to cancel a $200 million contract with Anthropic.
Anthropic. Of course, they are the safety-first lab. They built their entire brand on being the responsible adults in the room.
Constitutional AI. Helpful, honest, harmless. That's their mantra.
And the Department of Defense is basically saying, that's nice, but we need you to take the gloves off.
The specific wording in the source is that the DoD wants access for all lawful purposes. And when the military says lawful purposes, that includes weapons development.
It includes intelligence for targeting. It includes the dirty work of war. It's not ambiguous.
And the news is that OpenAI, Google, and xAI have essentially caved. They've shown flexibility. They are taking the checks. But Anthropic, so far, has refused.
Anthropic has drawn a red line in the sand. Their internal policy says no fully autonomous weapons, no mass domestic surveillance. And because of that refusal, the Pentagon is saying, fine, we will take our $200 million and give it to your competitors who will do the work.
It's a massive test of principles, isn't it? It's easy to have an ethics policy when it's all theoretical. It's a lot harder when $200 million in revenue is walking out the door directly to your biggest rivals.
But here is where it gets really complicated. Because while Anthropic is fighting this noble battle on paper over the future contract, the reality on the ground has already moved way past them. We have to talk about the Maduro raid.
This detail, I had to read this source 3 times to believe it. January 3rd, Caracas, Venezuela. A special forces raid on Nicolas Maduro's palace.
And this was a kinetic operation. Delta Force. There was gunfire. People were shot. This was not a simulation in a lab.
And the bombshell revelation is that Claude Anthropic's model, the SAFE model, was used during the operation.
It was deployed via Palantir's software stack, and the source is very clear. It wasn't just used for mission planning beforehand, it was used during active operations.
That implies real-time tactical decision support, the kind of thing you see in movies. Breach the door on the left or the door on the right. What is that heat signature in the next room telling us?
We don't know the exact prompts, but we know it was being used in the heat of the moment, and we know the fallout. The source mentions an Anthropic executive reached out to Palantir afterwards.
And what did they say?
Basically asking if Claude was used, implying they disapproved because, quote, obviously there was kinetic fire.
That is such a naive reaction, isn't it? Oh, did you use our powerful intelligence software in the military raid? We disapprove of kinetic fire. What did you think they were going to do with it? You're a defense contractor. You signed the deal with Palantir.
It just highlights the massive cognitive dissonance happening in Silicon Valley right now. You have these engineers who genuinely believe they are building a friendly god that will write poetry and solve physics.
And then that very same code is being piped into the headset of a Delta Force operator in a firefight in Venezuela.
It completely destroys the illusion of AI safety. If you build a brain that is smarter than any human, the most powerful people with the most guns are going to use it to aim those guns better. That's just history.
And look at the impossible position Anthropic is in. Their engineers are uneasy. Their entire brand is safety. But their biggest government revenue stream is the military. This raid just exposes the lie. You cannot control the end user once the model is deployed in a classified government network.
And this feeds right back into the ultimatum. If Anthropic holds the line on their ethics and loses the $200 million contract, does it even matter? The military will just turn around and use OpenAI or Google's model instead.
Exactly. The pragmatist argument says, if we don't build it, someone with fewer scruples will. So you might as well stay in the room and try to guide it, try to build in some safeguards.
So the ethical argument says, the moment we cross this line, we are complicit in whatever happens next.
And what happens next is an AI making a kill decision. Let's just be real about it. If Claude is giving real-time advice during a firefight and Claude hallucinates,
that is the nightmare scenario. The fog of war is bad enough with human senses and human bias. Now add a hallucinating AI that sounds supremely confident, telling you there are no civilians in the next room when there actually are.
The liability, the morality, it's a black hole.
It is. It really makes that incredible physics discovery feel distant and small, doesn't it? It's great that we can solve the universe, but we seem absolutely intent on destroying each other in this one small corner of it.
That is the human condition, unfortunately. We use the same fire to cook our food and to burn down our enemy's village. AI is just the newest and by far the hottest fire we've ever created.
Well said.
Well, let's try to pivot to something slightly less lethal, though still incredibly disruptive. Let's talk about the vibes economy and the creative tools. Because even art is getting a massive overhaul today.
Yes, let's step away from the battlefield for a moment and look through the camera lens, or rather the virtual camera lens. We are talking about Cinema Studio 2.0 by a company called Higgsfield.
Now, I've played with a lot of these AI video generators. You know the drill. You type a cat eating pizza in space, and you basically pray.
You prompt and pray.
And sometimes it's good, and sometimes the cat has 7 legs and the pizza is melting into the fabric of space-time.
Right, that's the prompt and pray method. Higgsfield is trying to change that. They're moving to what they call simulated optics.
The description here is wild. You don't just write a text prompt. You build a virtual camera rig. You choose the lens, the focal length, the aperture, the f-stop.
It's bringing the actual physics of photography into the generative process, which gives the creator so much more control. And the source mentions something really cool. You can walk through the generated environment.
Right, I saw that. So if you generate a scene, it's not just a flat video file, it's a 3D environment. You can move the camera and reframe the shot without regenerating the whole world from scratch.
And they have this hero frame workflow. You can scrub through the generated video, find the one perfect still image, the perfect shot, and lock that in as your hero frame. Then you direct all the motion to and from that frame.
That's actual directing. That's not just pulling the handle on a creative slot machine and hoping for the best.
It's intentionality, and it also mentions this concept of emotional rhythm.
Yeah, what was that about?
You can select a genre, horror, comedy, western, And it doesn't just change the color grade, it changes the pacing, the editing, and the camera behavior. A quality camera moves and cuts differently than a horror camera.
That is so subtle. That is such a human understanding of filmmaking.
It is. It's understanding the language of cinema, not just the pixels.
But, as with everything else today, there is a legal battle attached. We have to mention the NPR lawsuit real quick.
David Green, a host at NPR for years.
He is suing Google because their Notebook LM tool, which, by the way, we use all the time for research, has a default male voice that sounds suspiciously like him.
And Google's defense is that it's a paid actor who just happens to sound similar. Green is saying, no, it's a digital clone of my voice.
It connects right back to the Disney and ByteDance fight. It's the fight for likeness.
It's the fight for identity. In a world where AI can simulate a camera, simulate a voice, simulate a physics professor, and simulate a military strategist, what do we actually own anymore? Do we own our face, our voice, our style?
It seems the answer increasingly is no, or at least not for long.
That's the feeling of 2026, isn't it? Everything is being digitized, quantized, and optimized, from your voice to your job to the fundamental laws of physics.
So let's try to wrap this up. We have covered an insane amount of ground today.
It's been a marathon. My head is spinning.
Let's just quickly recap the whirlwind of February 16th, 2026 for everyone.
Okay. Point 1. Physics is solved. Or at least, the AI is now correcting us. GPT-5.2 found a new formula, proved it, and left the entire human scientific community playing catch-up.
Point 2. The price of intelligence has officially crashed to zero. ByteDance is selling frontier models for 47 cents, undercutting the West and creating a massive, possibly fatal challenge for Silicon Valley business models.
Point 3. The workforce as we know it is exiting the building. Developers aren't coding, they are managing AI. Students are dropping out of CS degrees. And autonomous agents like OpenClaw are starting to take over the admin work for everyone.
And point 4, the heaviest one. The military's all in. The Pentagon is demanding total access. The safety labs are being forced to choose between their ethics and their government contracts. And we now know, for a fact, that AI is being used in kinetic raids where people are dying.
It's a lot to process for a Monday.
It really is. And I want to leave our listener with a thought, a provocative thought, to chew on after this episode ends.
Go for it.
We talked about speed all day, 12 hours to solve physics, 96 steps for a CAD model in seconds.
Right. The compression of time.
If GPT 5.2 can correct decades of human physics in 12 hours, and Seed 2.0 can run autonomous agents for pennies, are we remotely prepared for the speed at which the world is about to change? We used to talk about future shock, but this feels like present shock. The shock is here.
It is. And I'll add one more thought. On the military side, if the safe AI Anthropic's Claude was used in a raid where people were shot, does AI safety actually exist when the government is the client?
That's a great question.
Or is safety just a marketing term for the consumer version, while the classified version that gets deployed does whatever is necessary to win?
That is a chilling thought. Does safety exist when the check is big enough?
I don't think it does. I think today's news proves it.
Well, on that cheerful note, we are going to sign off. We need to go update our own agents and secure our own stacks.
Absolutely. It feels more urgent than ever.
Speaking of which, don't forget to click the link in the show notes to check out AIRIA. If the world's getting this fast and this crazy, you need a control plane. Secure your stack.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
That wraps up today's briefing. The signal for today is friction. We are seeing friction between Anthropic's safety values and the Pentagon's mission. We are seeing friction between ByteDance's speed and Disney's IP rights. And we are seeing friction between the old way of doing science and the new reality where AI makes the discoveries. This episode was made possible by AIRIA. Get visibility into your AI stack and stop flying blind. Check the link in the show notes. This podcast is created and produced by Etienne Newman, senior software engineer and passionate soccer dad from Canada. Please subscribe and share. Until tomorrow, keep unraveling the future.
And before you go, if your company is building the tools that power the workflows we talked about today, I'd love to showcase them to this audience. We don't just run ads, we build technical simulations that prove your value. Let's build something together. Visit jamgamind.com/partners to get started. Until next time, keep building.